and 60 seconds to speak. Listen to a conversation between two students.
Is there a problem with the electricity?
Yeah, this storm's knocked out power all over the city. And they're saying it might be several hours before we have electricity again.
Oh no, I have a history paper due tomorrow, and I've been writing it on my laptop computer, and the battery's running low. I'm going to need electricity soon.
Well, Jefferson City still has electricity, and there's a library there where you can plug in your laptop. You could go over there and work on your paper. It's only about a 20-minute drive.
That's a good idea. Of course, I'd have to pack up all my stuff, and it is raining outside.
Yeah, that's true. Well, why don't you just ask the professor for an extension? Tomorrow when you go to class, just ask him if he'd give you an extra day to get the paper done. I'm pretty sure he'd agree, with the storm and all.
Yeah, that'd sure be a lot easier. But then he did tell us when he gave us the assignment that he wouldn't grant any extensions.
You don't think he'd grant an exception in this case?
I'm not sure. It's a little risky. He might just say that we shouldn't have waited until the last minute.
Yeah, but maybe if other students have the same problem, you might be able to convince him.
Yeah, I mean, it's not our fault the electricity went out.
Briefly summarize the woman's problem, then state which solution you would recommend. Explain the reasons for your recommendation.
Please prepare your answer after the beep. Please begin speaking after the beep.
According to the conversation, Human has a problem, and the problem is that he cannot write a paper due next week because of the problem concerning electricity. Although it is a problem, two solutions are suggested in the recent passage. The first one is to go to the library, and the second one is to ask the professor the extension of the paper. I personally think that the first one will better. The reason for this is that to ask extension is not sure. It depends on the mood of professor. Although she mentioned that it is raining, it is not a big problem to go to library. Therefore, the first one is good for her.
Number 6. In this question, you will listen to a short
You
lecture.
listen to a short
You will
lecture.
then be
You
asked
then
to summarize important information from the lecture. After you hear the question, you will have 20 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to speak. Listen to part of a lecture in a psychology class.
In the psychology class.
Okay, we generally assume that babies can feel only very basic emotions like happiness or anger. That is, that babies just react to things that happen directly to them. However, some new research is suggesting that babies may be able to feel concern for others, to have empathy for others. Now, empathy is a complex emotion. It involves a baby relating to someone else's emotions, not just reacting to things happening directly to them. Let's talk about an experiment that may show that babies could be capable of feeling empathy. Okay, for the first part of the experiment, we've always known that babies start to cry when they hear other babies crying, right? One baby in a room starts crying and all the rest join in. We've always assumed that the other babies cried because they were reacting to the noise of the crying, that the noise itself was distressing. So in the experiment, researchers played a tape recording, a tape of babies crying, to another baby. And sure enough, the baby started crying when he heard the sound of other babies crying. This was no surprise, of course, and the researchers assumed that the baby cried because of the noise. But the next part of the experiment was surprising. The researchers played the baby a tape of his own crying. Now, it was just as noisy, so the researchers expected him to cry. However, this time, the baby did not cry. He wasn't upset by the sound of his own crying. Why not? Well, maybe it wasn't the noise that had made him cry before when he heard other babies crying. In fact, making noise had nothing to do with it. It could be that the baby felt empathy for the other babies, and that was why he got upset when he heard them crying. The researchers concluded that it is indeed possible that babies feel empathy, concern for others.
Using the points from the lecture, explain why researchers think that babies may feel empathy.
Please prepare your answer after the beep. Please begin speaking after the beep.
The baby able to feel empathy. Although empathy is a very complicated feeling, baby can feel this. In the listening passage, the professor tried to illustrate this topic by giving an example of an experiment. In an experiment, noise of the voice that other babies cried is used, and once baby listened to this voice, the babies were crying. But when a baby listened to the voice of own crying, they don't cry. From this result, the researchers inferred that the baby can feel empathy.